Speaker, community organisations like Glasgow Central Mosque face additional energy bills of hundreds of thousands of pounds, which as a charity they just cannot afford. People depend on community organisations like the mosque, and they are being asked to be on the front line this winter. Even with the 6-month reprieve in energy prices, these bills will not go away. Would the Chancellor have the mosque close their elderly daycare service, or the counselling provision, the mother and toddler group, the poverty reduction work, or the vaccination centre that's been running in the community hall? These are very real choices communities are already having to make. The businesses I've been listening to over the past months are incredibly worried for the future. They were already facing severe pressure through supply chain costs, input costs, labour costs, COVID debts and Brexit woes before energy prices soared. Now they don't know how they will survive. 6 months will go by in a flash, and the question remains, what then? What then from the Chancellor? Companies can't wish away these bills. The eye-wateringly unaffordable contracts they are being forced to sign right now. What happens to those businesses who just miss the arbitrary cut-off? And what of the increase in standing charges, which we already know are disproportionately high in Scotland? Mr Speaker, Scotland is an energy-rich country, but we don't have the power. Scotland's renewables sector is booming, but in off-gas grid rural Scotland, surrounded by the wind turbines generating clean green energy, people are having to spend an absolute fortune in heating oil. In Argyll and Bute, in Angus, the Highlands and Isles and across our rural communities, household fees increases of over 230% in the past 2 years alone. The UK Government's offer of £100 is nothing short of an insult as people turn to credit cards to fill up their fuel tanks. The Scottish Government is doing all in its power to support people through this crisis, strengthening the safety net by increasing the Scottish Child payment to £25 a week, doubling the Fuel Insecurity Fund to £20 million and freezing rents, because renters are also facing pressures. We have the highest rate of the real living wage in Scotland. We've invested in tackling fuel poverty and energy efficiency, but we could do so much more with more budget and more powers. At the back of the Blue Book today, still no carbon capture and storage for the north east of Scotland, a game changer for renewables in Scotland. Where is that in the Chancellor's plans? Nowhere again. We could have growth by investing in skills, in net zero and productivity. The Chancellor's plans will not do this. Mr Speaker, people don't freeze to death in our Nordic neighbours, and people there are not living in one of the most unequal countries in the world, and it's only getting worse. This right-wing, Thatcher cosplaying shambles of a government is making choices that they will never feel the consequences of. Mr Speaker, I beg of this Chancellor to listen to those on the edge, those who are desperately looking right now to him for a lifeline, but no one should have to beg for a decent standard of living. The people of Scotland see a Scottish Government doing their best to mitigate the worst, but stymied by the broken politics of this union and this economic madness we heard from the Chancellor today. Scotland is looking for a different path, Mr Speaker. Scotland needs independence.
What Scotland doesn't need is reheated socialism from the SNP. She mentioned energy, and I'm always staggered when people in her party mention energy, and they don't countenance nuclear power. Nuclear power is a great, clean form of energy. And while we speak about energy, she will know that we have indeed listened. We have implemented a limit to energy prices. My right honourable friend, the Prime Minister, who's no longer in her place, made the engagement within 2 days of taking office, and it's something which I'm very proud of, and we've also extended it to supporting businesses.
In fairness, the spokesman of the SNP was heard.
Well, we thought that there wouldn't be anything mini about this mini-budget, and I think this was about as maxi as it gets. Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng has said that they believe in lower taxes. They certainly followed through with that, abolishing the additional 45p rate of income tax entirely for those on over $150,000 a year, cuts to stamp duty, national insurance, corporation tax, alcohol duties, but of course big questions remain about government borrowing. They also, of course, confirmed that the energy bill package will cost £60 billion for the first 6 months alone. Well, let's bring in our political editor, Beth Rigby at Shower. We thought it could be the biggest tax-cutting budget since Nigel Lawson in 1988, but actually it turned out even bigger than that?
I mean, when that source said to me there were more rabbits in this than Watership Down, they really weren't joking. I mean, this is a massive budget without an independent forecast about how it affects public finances, which Kwasi Kwarteng says will come before the end of the year. But yes, it's the biggest tax-cutting event, we think, since 1972, which was even before I was born, and I'm very old.
That was the barber boom.
The barber boom, exactly. And if you look at the scorecard, this is where, you know, we see all of the measures and how that feeds through to policy, tax and spend. We're talking about £45 billion of tax cuts by the year 26 to 27, the end of the cycle, and tax cuts of £27 billion next year. Paul Johnson from the IFS saying that this was like Lord Barber's Dash for Growth budget, as we said, back in 1972. Paul Johnson also pointing out that ended in disaster, that budget now known, as he says, as the worst of modern times. Massive tax cuts back then. It meant government borrowing soared, the bubble burst, the markets collapsed. They're gambling that this will pay off in terms of growth, but just some of the key measures, they have abolished the top rate of tax. You'll remember it was 50 pence under Gordon Brown. It was reduced to 45% under George Osborne. That tax band has been abolished. I think just over 400,000 or maybe 500,000 people pay that if they earn over £150,000 a year. So a tiny proportion of the population, huge tax cut for them. And it's been abolished. So now the top rate of tax is 40%. Everyone above £50,000 paying that. They have also scrapped the banker's bonus, that big corporation tax reversal, again, another levy benefiting big businesses or tax break. That's £19 billion a year of tax that big business won't be paying. They did do some things, though, for people at the lower end of the income scale, which I think is interesting in terms of trying to spread the benefits of tax cuts. The cut in income tax, which Rishi Sunak had announced, is being brought forward to next year, so everyone gets a 1 pence cut to 19 pence for the base rate. And also those changes to stamp duty will benefit everyone, but 200,000 first-time buyers on the lowest, buying at the bottom of the housing ladder will be taken out of that tax altogether. But from a Labour point of view, there is no doubt that you can now frame this budget as a Conservative government giving massive tax breaks to the richest in society at a time when the public finances are fragile. And I think really the key thing today won't be necessarily the public reaction and the political reaction. I think it will be the market's reaction.
Well, on that, let's bring in Ed Conway, shall we? Beth, talking a little bit there about how the markets reacted the last time there was a tax-cutting budget this big. Have we had any sign about how it's going down yet, or is it too early?
Well, they're not panicking, OK? So that's the good news. And I imagine in the Treasury, where they're watching these screens as well pretty closely, they'll be moderately reassured. It's early days, though. What's happening right now is everyone, like us, like viewers at home, like the investors, they're digesting what we're seeing now. And as Beth was saying, the scale is extraordinary. I mean, this was not, obviously, we kind of had a suspicion it was not going to be a mini budget. This was massive. And, you know, in a sense, the hallmark of that isn't just the scale of what we're talking about in the numbers. And in a moment, let's bring up some of those numbers Beth was talking about in a second. It's the fact that you were also fiddling with things like, you know, duties on spirits and wine. You know, that's something you typically only do in budgets. So this felt, and it sounded a lot like a budget, albeit that it wasn't, you know, all that long. But the scale of the numbers is, you know, it's extraordinary. Let's see if we can just show you some of those, because the scorecard, as it's called, is what the Treasury does when it's bringing up the kind of, you know, calculation of how much it's going to cost. Have a look at this behind me. It's a little bit messy, but this is the scorecard. This is what we have just been given by the Treasury. And that number that Beth was talking about there, £45 billion, there it is over on the far right-hand side. That's a staggering amount. And bear in mind, OK, so what we're looking at here, that period is for 2026-27, OK? So that's the end of the forecast horizon. And what that underlines to us is that these tax cuts are permanent. You know, there is no plan to try and pay them off by the end of the forecast horizon. Of course, that goes well into the next Parliament, so big question marks about the politics of it. In terms of what's costing, you know, most money, well, the national insurance reversal, that was always a very expensive policy in the first place. So that is among the most expensive. Then on top of that, the additional rate of income tax, that's about £2 billion a year. Cutting the basic rate of income tax, actually that was costed by Rishi Sunak in his previous budget. As you said, it was due to come in a little bit later, a year later, but still very expensive. But then look at this, corporation tax, let's circle it there. Corporation tax, that's going to cost about £19 billion. And when you add it all up, and finally bear in mind, Sophie, this does not include the energy price guarantee, which could be the most expensive part of it. You know, they've got a memo about that elsewhere.
Sorry to interrupt. And actually, Kwasi Kwarteng then said that their estimates, the Treasury estimates, is it's going to cost 60 billion. But as you have been reporting, we know that depending on how long it has to be extended, I mean, Jacob Rees-Mogg talking to our Sam Coates yesterday was hinting that for public services, for the business support, it could certainly be for schools and hospitals extended a year. I mean, that is how long is a piece of string estimate, isn't it, in terms of 60 billion?
It dwarfs the rest of this stuff that we've been talking about and that we've been showing you. I mean, I've moved across to the bit where they've worked that out in the document today. It's about, there it is, it's about £60 billion, but that's only over 6 months. So that dwarfs everything else.
And the support for the households, they've guaranteed it for 2 years.
The support for households...
So if energy prices keep rising or they stay high, then that is tens of billions more of pounds on top of £45 billion of tax cuts, just to try and put this into context of how big this really is.
I don't think there's ever been another period where we've had quite so much borrowing in such a short space of time.
Yeah, I'm interested on that because if you're thinking about, you know, the kind of traditional, old-school politics, I guess, that this administration doesn't necessarily believe in, then you'd be looking at balancing with public sector spending cuts. I was interested to hear Kwasi Kwarteng say, look, we are going to scrap the health and social care levy, but we'll maintain the spending on that. I mean, that, for me, is an example of what this government's policy is. I guess it is to do it through borrowing, right? I
mean, like, how much of a... can you imagine any Conservative Chancellor since 2010 saying that? And, you know, quite unapologetically saying we're getting rid of the banker's bonus, unapologetically saying we're getting rid of the additional rate of income tax, which is going to be an enormous boost for those at the top end of the income spectrum. You know, other people will benefit from the cut in the basic rate, but... you know, a lot of rich people have just got richer. Basically.
And Beth, what's the politics of that?
Well, just on the issue of the banker's bonus, for example, it was something that Boris Johnson looked at and decided he couldn't do because politically it was too toxic. And I think what's so fascinating about this budget is that Liz Truss has inherited a coalition of voters that was built by, not her, by Boris Johnson. And it marries the sort of stockbroker belt of the shires of the southeast of England with some of those red wall, traditionally working class seats of the north that gave their votes to the Conservative Party. So they've got this coalition of voters from lower income scales to higher income scales, and somehow Boris Johnson, through sort of political alchemy and also Brexit and his ability to appeal, to be kind of Janus face, to appeal to different electorates and different groups of people, he stitched it all together. And what Liz Truss is doing is she's taking that base of support, but she's producing a budget that is not really trying to balance out any of the political demands of those different groups of people, because what she's doing is she is going for growth. I mean, you could argue, critics would argue perhaps, that this is almost a Hail Mary pass, that this is a budget where you are going for broke because you need to try and have success. And she's looking at what she's facing, and they have taken a decision that above all else, they have to try and get the UK out of recession, and they are putting in place a radical set of plans. Now, Dominic Raab, during the leadership race, he backed Rishi Sunak, and he talked about these tax-cutting measures at a time when public debt is so high, as what he described as an electoral suicide note. And then that's not my words, that's the words of the former Deputy Prime Minister, who was very, very opposed to some of these economic plans. Rishi Sunak, very opposed to these economic plans. He described it as fancy economics, and that was just the top icing on the cake of this. This was before all these additional measures. And I think what that tells you is this party is not just Labour and Conservatives, but ideologically, the Conservative Party are going to be very divided on this set of policies, with senior Conservatives in seats perhaps facing lower income constituents, maybe worrying about this plan. So that's, I think, interesting. I mean, you saw Mel Stride stand up in the chamber. He's a Conservative. He's the chair of the Treasury Select Committee, saying, you have to give an independent assessment of this. Where is the OBR forecast?
And tax cuts must be done in a fiscally responsible way.
And there you have it. He said it himself in the chamber. There are dozens of Conservative MPs who back Rishi Sunak, who take that point of view. So it's not just dividing lines now between Labour and the Conservatives. I'm really interested as well to see what happens within the Conservative Party about this set of policies. Her support within the Conservative Party is quite shallow.
Fascinating.
Less than half of Conservative MPs, even when they knew she was going to win the race, publicly came out and backed Liz Truss, and that tells you a lot about how the benches are feeling, even if they might not vocalise it right now.
And there's a lot of them on the backbenches now are supporters of Rishi Sunak, who didn't make it into the cabinet. And Beth, they're talking about the split, I guess, in the Conservative Party, and it does feel a very different kind of economics from what we saw under Boris Johnson. Kwasi Kwarteng there standing up saying this is a new era. Labour were heckling at that point, but Liz Truss was mouthing, yes, it is, and it does feel like it.
It does. I mean, in economic policy terms, obviously, in political terms, as Beth was saying, but we haven't really seen the Conservative Party do this probably since Barber. So going back to the early 1970s, that was Heath and Barber splurging a lot of money, trying to win that next election. That was what was happening. You know, there are quite a lot of analogies here between 1972, where Anthony Barber went out there, cut a lot of taxes, threw a lot of money at the economy, basically, hoping that there was going to be a boom in the run-up to the next election. Obviously, what happened in hindsight was that inflation spiked, and then he had to end up kind of raising interest rates as a result.
Welcome to Gabby Dave Global. We are a UK-based online e-commerce store, the first of its kind with license to trade in African products. Some of the products are clothing brands and all beauty accessories, hair and beauty brands, natural aphrodisiacs, processed and dried unprocessed food. Our mission at Gabby Dave is to connect African and Caribbean businesses to customers globally. At Gabby Dave, we ensure our sellers get the best deal for their products. We are not just here to help you reach a wider audience. We are also a distribution center to support business growth by fulfilling orders to your customers from our warehouse, making sure customers receive their products on time. We are inviting all Black-owned businesses to trade on our platform because we strongly believe Africans have a unique brand the customer would appreciate globally. So get in touch today and let us make your product and business go far. Here are some of the benefits of using Gabby Dave Global. User-friendly platform, track your shipment, online support, transparent process, multiple SKUs, multiple products, a platform that encourages manufacturers as well as traders. Our marketing and PR interventions amplifies yours. Organized products and categories for easy access and navigation. Access to global community, especially within UK and Europe.
Transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR, S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clemens, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business. the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
It's your man. Bekutu, show them you got the cocoa set. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Harry Song, aka Mr. Songs. This is the Kingmaker, Baba for the girls. We're here. This is Starr Radio. We don't go nowhere. UK, London. We they call them London for home. For here, we they call them London. And that's how you know. Just have fun and stay blessed.
Hi there, this is CJ Buckman, your life coach. And whenever I'm in London, I listen to Starr Radio UK right here. But guess what? You can listen to wherever you are.
The best radio show. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world. In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Are you ready to turn it up?
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Smile, though your heart is aching. Smile even though it's breaking. When there are clouds in the sky, you get by. If you smile through your fear and sorrow, smile and maybe tomorrow you find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile. Hey, this is Archie and you are listening to Starr Radio UK and The Morning Show.
This is Starr Radio. This is
UK.
Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
Welcome. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
Enlighten your day with Starr Radio. Starr Radio. Radio for the people, by the people.
My sister, smile. Hallelujah.
The coolest way to start your weekend.
All right, TNS, let me hear you sing.
Okay, let me say massive good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth, and those of you on other planets as well. Salute each and every one of you, and I say once again, welcome to the program. Today is the 23rd day of September, the year 2022, with the time now 10:42 from the hearts of London. A very cool, dull day here in London, looking through the windows. But I'm going to make sure I make your day. Bring in some sunshine in. But first of all, bring in this tune. Smile. If you don't smile, what will you do? You frown your face, you use more muscles and more energy in doing so. And therefore, it's better to smile, because by smiling, you ease the muscles in your face using less energy that your body needs. Alright then, so once again, welcome to the show. Let me say good morning to my colleagues, Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi, Mr. Dan Tabiri, and my able producer, Mr. Francis Guy. And to all our lovely listeners across the globe. In the US, Aziz, Antonio G, Abiose, and all you wonderful people there listening to us, the numerous of you in the Americas. When it comes to UAE, I have my own Miss Gold. Good morning to you. But this is how you say afternoon. And all of you who are in UAE as well. So, the Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, wherever you are listening to us from, I salute each and every one of you. And to the wonderful listeners on the African continent. Yesterday I was having a chat with, let me say morning to Kojo D. And he was telling me how much it costs to just buy a data. We were talking about Wi-Fi and he was saying, oh, you don't want to know. So if you are able to tune in each day or whatever time listening to us, I know it costs you an arm and a leg, yet you manage to do that. I salute you all, and once again I say welcome to the program. It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. I remain yours sincerely, the one and only.
This is the morning show with Archie.
All right, TNS, let me hear you sing.
Okay, so for those of you who've tuned in for the first time on a Friday, this is how the program is going to go. I'm going to bring you the quote of the day, the weather forecast will follow suit, then the travel update as well. We'll move on from there to have a look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe, known as Global Trotting. Then after that, exactly at 11 o'clock, we have Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who will be hopping in to bring you updates from Nigeria. There's lots happening there. Now we'll move on from there and then look at some of the stories making the rounds across the globe. Well, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Kwesi Kwarteng, has come out with a mini budget. Now, how do you see it? You want an interpretation to it? Well, we'll do our best to see if our money man will be on, yes, to dissect it and see how it's going to benefit you or how it's going to impact you, whether negatively or positively. So wherever you are, I want to welcome you. 12 o'clock, the lines will be open for you to add your voice to the discussions. 12:30, our money man comes in. So in the gist, that's what's going to be happening. 10:45 the time, Starr Radio UK, the station. The Friday edition of the morning show. Playing in the background, something from TNS. The new song, Odoko PIWC. Smile, smile. So though the days might be dark and challenging times, I have a friend who can comfort you and hold your hands through those challenging times. Aren't we in a challenging time? My goodness. Alright then, let's crack on. The quote for today says, yesterday will repeat itself tomorrow if you continue making the same choices you made yesterday. So what choices are you making? You got to make the right choice by tuning in to listen to us on Starr Radio UK or watch us there. Because it's going to impact you positively. If you didn't do that yesterday, do that today. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones and invite them to like our pages. Transmitting live on all the social media platforms and on our own apps. Let's go to your app store. Just type in STARR Radio Global and you will get us there. Download it. It is for free. Okay, let's crack on. Now when it comes to the weather front, well, a bit mild a bit, but today is they call it equinox or whatever it is. So we have the same hours for the day and the same hours for the night, equal. But well, when it comes to the weather itself, this afternoon will continue to be overcast with outbreaks of rain, which may be heavy at times. It will turn drier for many towards the evening, but a few spots of rain will linger in places. Tonight will start mostly cloudy with a few spots of rain in places through the night. Cloud will clear to the south to leave plenty of clear spells. There will be a gentle northerly breeze as well. Okay, so Starr Radio UK. Now, when it comes to the top temperature, it's going to be 20 degrees tops and 11 degrees the lowest. Now, UV level is going to be low, pollution is going to be low. Sunset 1857, sunrise for tomorrow morning 0647 hours.
Even though the day be long.
Well, officially today is the beginning of autumn, right? Okay. Now, when it comes to the weekend weather for June, Saturday we're going to have a cloudy weather. Top temperature 17 degrees, the lowest 9 degrees. Now, come Sunday, 17 tops and the lowest 11, mixture of cloud and sunshine. So in gist, that's what is going to be happening over the weekend. Now let's move on straight to the travel updates. 10:48 the time, and not you worry, I'll bring you the full length of the music in a moment. But for now, let's go on your travels. Keep your eyes on the roads.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Okay, so keep your eyes on the roads. I'm keeping navigated. I promise I'm on the Starr Radio travel up there. That comes your way every day from 10:40. So 10:49. Now on the central line this morning, on the underground, so the central line here. Now minor delays between Leytonstone, Hainault, Epping, between White City and Ealing Broadway and West Ruslip due to train cancellation. Good service on the rest of the line. That aside, all the other underground lines have got good service. But the London tram link seems to be having a bit of a problem there. Let me bring that your way as well. So on the London tram link, minor delays due to shortage of trams. That aside, London Overground DLR have all got good service. Now let's move on straight to the major roads in London. A4 has got closures, Central London Red Routes closures, South Circular A205 closures there as well, and A316 have got serious delays. If you can avoid it, please do your best and avoid that. But moving on to the river bars this morning. On the river bars, Woolwich area has got special service. That aside, all the others, as you know, yes, good service. The London cable car promises all the time and delivers on it. Good service. Now let's move on to the final segment of the travel update. That's the National Rail. On the National Rail, Avanti West Coast has got reduced timetable. Cross Country has got minor delays there as well. We move on, and Great Northern Railway has also got minor delays, and a Greater Anglia minor delays there as well. London Northwestern Railway has also got minor delays. Northern Railway has also got minor delays on some routes. Southwestern Railway minor delays on some routes there as well. Thameslink minor delays. First Transport and Express has got amended timetable, and that is affecting travels there. The Transport for Wales minor delays, and West Midland Railways has also got minor delays. So in a gist, that's what is happening there on your travels. On that note, let me say what? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good dawn to you wherever you might be on planet Earth. You know what? Enjoy your commute for today, but you know what? Continue to keep those eyes on the roads.
This is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Everywhere you go, Afrobeat reggae dancehall taking over. Yo, what's up, people? This is a boy Raskin Bobo One. Tune in every day, every night at the Star Radio UK with the big man them Archie. When I say Orta, you say fire.
And let me say massive good morning to Bishop Adesina Adeyemo. It is your birthday today, as you say. Regards, yes, kudos to you as well. But we pray that God will continue to enlarge your territory and grant you more influence, and may the power of God continue to overwhelm you, that wherever you go you stand and tell the truth and defend the faith there as well. Bishop, God bless you. Thank you very much for joining us as well. All right then, so as many of you celebrating whatever day, whether it's your birthday, maybe your wedding, maybe some anniversary of a sort, whatever it is, maybe if you are crying, we want you to understand that Starr Radio stands with you in whatever things that you are doing, and we wish you the best in everything. There is something in you that is so strong, and I know that you can make it. All right then. So now it is now 6 minutes to the top of the hour, and let's quickly run through some of the stories that we're going to be looking at. Now, Economists Intelligence Unit predict winner of Nigeria's 2023 presidential election. Well, we'll be bringing you more on that. I'm not going to break it any further. Tinubu meets bishops. Lays fears on Muslim ticket. Would that actually change anything of the sort? And then SSS bars popular presidential candidate from visiting Nnamdi Kanu in detention. Why? Okay, so a lot more going to come. NLC tells Buhari's regime to pay health workers hazard allowance. Interesting stories making the rounds in Nigeria that we're going to be looking at as well. But stay tuned and don't you go away. Now, when it comes to other stories making the rounds on the African continent, West African leaders impose sanctions on Guinea junta. Okay, we'll be bringing you more on that front. We know that Mali was celebrating its 62nd anniversary, independence anniversary there, and we had the two leaders meeting to celebrate it. But well, on the eve of an ECOWAS conference, and they have sanctioned Guinea. We'll be bringing you more on that front as the program goes on. Law and school entrance paper leaks hours to exams. Beautiful nonsense, my uncle will say. Now, DCOP for Senator Kodua Ando could be appointed CID boss to replace Ken Yeboah. All right then. Well, maybe another woman couldn't do it. Maybe this one will be able to do it. Who knows? Aisha wants scanty narrow charges protecting accomplices in high places, Ablakwa says. Well, we'll be bringing you more on that front. Well. Starr Radio UK. Ghana will not recognize Russian annexation of Ukrainian territory. Ayoko Bochwe, the foreign minister, is saying pertaining to Ghana vis-a-vis what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. All right then, now so let's move on straight to some of the stories making the rounds here in other parts of the world before we come to the UK. Russia wants from the votes in occupied. What Russia wants from the votes from the occupied territory, which I know that the votes are taking place today. Decided, but I think it's you are next somebody's country. Decided, okay, now do people want to stay in that country, or you want to be part of us? And well, votes are going to take place, but we don't know what's going to happen there. We're watching very closely. The US says they are not going to recognize them. Now we have Ghana, who is also saying, you know what, we're not going to recognize in those countries as well. But what do you think about all that? It is Starr Radio. Okay. In Iran vows custody death probe amid protests. The death of a woman who allegedly broke headscarf rules sparks the worst unrest in recent years. Is it that those who are advocating for a change in the system in Iran are also jumping on the bandwagon to change issues there? We'll be looking more into that as the program unfolds. It is Starr Radio UK. Now here in the UK, my old countryman, who is now another countryman, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, has come out with the mini budget, they call it. The Chancellor cuts income tax and stamp duty in bid to boost growth. Do you think that is going to happen at all? Yesterday, we had the Bank of England raising interest rate by 0.5%. How has it impacted you? As I said earlier on, we do our best to see whether we can get our money man to come and throw more light on its impact, whether positively or negatively to you who is listening to us, especially those of you here in the UK. A stamp duty cut in bid to help house buyers. Okay, we'll see what happens there. First-time buyers, I think, are going to be benefiting more from that. And at a glance, what's in the mini budget? I'll be telling you more about that. So stay tuned. Don't you go away. Enjoy the song whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi to join us. And let me dedicate that song to Bishop Adeshina Adeyemo. May God put smile on your face. Though it comes in one of the Ghanaian languages, in Twi, it says smile. Though things are tough, yes, God will put that smile because He has your best interest at heart. Okay, enjoy it wherever you are, and I'll be with you. Stay tuned. Don't you go away.
It's a smile. Hallelujah. Oh, Lord God. All right, TNS, let me hear you sing.
This is Starr Radio UK.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
In your car,
at work,
at home,
on your smartphone. Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
This is Starr Radio UK.
With you we have no reason to fear.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio UK. This is Starr Radio UK.
In your car.
At work.
At home.
On your smartphone.
So I'm more than a rich man. That's why the end. That's what the end of that music says. Let me say thank you very much to TNS from Odoko, Ghana. All right then. Let me say a special good morning to the one and only Sahid Abiodun. Say Yoruba Nation, no going back. No going back. I tell you all the time, if you believe in a cause, you stand for it, you fight for it. It might hurt you, but well, it's a cause that you believed in. It's better to know what you are doing rather than to sit on the fence. Now, Miss Gold, greetings to you all. How are the UAEs? Yeah, I hope you're all doing very, very well. But at this juncture, it is my singular honor to introduce the one and only White Lion in the house. I know Mr. Frank Davis is also in the house as well. But let me say, White Lion, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, massive good morning to you.
Well, a very good morning to you, Mr. Archie. Very good morning to all our listeners. I hope you can hear me.
Loud and clear.
All right. A very good morning to you back in the studio, and I welcome you once again to all our listeners. It is the Friday edition. We say, thank God it's Friday, because Friday is when we get paid. For those of us that get paid in the UK, that's if you get paid weekly. Good morning to you, Frank. Good morning to all the other media, our presenters. And I'll come back again to you. It is 23rd of September 2022. It's just 7 minutes past.
Yes. Listeners, you want a good Friday, a good weekend? Yes, your Friday starts from here, Starr Radio UK. 7 minutes past, as Olayomi Koiki said. And let's go to some of the stories. But before then, how are you and how is the family?
Well, I'm doing very well. Likewise, the family is doing very well as well. As usual, a very bright one outside, as the family are all out at the moment, but it's going to be the busy weekend. That means there is no more holiday. We had I think a long weekend. Remember, it was the Queen's burial ceremony on Monday, and that literally means that the weekend was quite a long one. But it's going to be a short one, but we're looking forward to it.
Yes, a normal one, of course. Well, if you are listening to us, it is the Friday edition of the morning show, Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In our North London studios, Mr. Olayomi Koiki. With me here in the studios in London, I have Mr. Frank Davis. I am Archie, and we're bringing you the Friday edition of the morning show. We will later be joined by Mr. Tabiri, CEO of GIL Accountancy Services, and money man as well. But now, let me quickly come to you, Yomi. A couple of stories, then we can come to the other ones that we posted on the Facebook page. Now, Economist Intelligence Unit predicts winner of Nigeria's 2023 election. The Economist Intelligence Unit has predicted the ruling APC's Bola Tinubu will win Nigeria's 2023 presidential elections. I know you've heard this. How is it going around the country? Is it causing a lot of this or PDP? I mean, what's happening?
When you look at the current situation in Nigeria, especially the issue of this election, and the election is getting closer. I was actually, watching the INEC chairman speaking, I think yesterday, and if we look at our time clock on numbers of the days, he actually said 152 days but I mean, I've got 140 days, so, but we're just about 10 days different from what we've been saying on the platform. It used to be the APC, the PDP, but we now have the push from the Labour Party. So that literally means there's a third force. We still have, the NMPC, MPP, and likewise the Showore and the rest of that. But in terms of, which of the candidates, will win the election, but again, as we've been saying, that is subject to if, and I use that word carefully, if an election will hold in Nigeria. We do know that there's a lot of preparation. Millions of Nigerians have got their PVC and they will be expecting to vote. But because Nigeria as it is, I mean, I was on the ground in 2019 and the election was actually pulled over when people were waking up, even getting to their polling unit, only for them to be told that the election has been pulled over. So we just have to wait and see, based on what the government is saying, that there will be an election. President Muhammadu Buhari spoke about it, that he will give a free and fair election, but like you say, there will be a lot of different prediction on who should win, but likewise, there will be a lot of prediction if Nigeria will go ahead after 2023.
Well, listen, that's interesting one there. Do you agree with that prediction that has taken place, or are you against it? What do you think? All right then. Now the second story that is making the rounds again, the SSS has barred popular presidential candidate from visiting Nnamdi Kanu in detention. Now, an attempt to see IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu by the AAC presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore was blocked by operatives of the SSS. Mr. Sowore was billed to see the embattled IPOB leader alongside two other persons. Now, frustrated by the situation, Sowore in a 30-second video expressed his disappointment and called for the release of the IPOB leader. Now, we know that the SSS, I mean, they are virtually doing everything to hold Sowore, my apologies, Nnamdi Kanu behind bars. But I thought other presidential candidates can just go and see him, because few times we had what they call governors of various states going to see him there. So why did SSS stop Sowore from seeing Nnamdi Kanu?
Well, Sowore, as we know, is a presidential aspirant for Sowore is a presidential aspirant, for the AAC. He's also an activist, and he's also someone that is of interest to the government. Remember, he was actually pinned down himself in Abuja for more than 2 years. He couldn't actually leave until there was a court injunction that now gave him the room to move around. You're quite right. There's been visitation that has been allowed, according to the court, to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that has been held by the Department of State Security Service after he was kidnapped and renditioned, back to Nigeria. And I did saw that post as well. When Sowore actually, says that it was not allowed. But what the lawyer, the legal team of Nnamdi Kanu is saying is, health-wise now, Nnamdi Kanu requested to meet Sowore, but that didn't happen. So that literally means that the DSS, he's not giving him that opportunity. But what I can say is, according to the lawyers, Nnamdi Kanu unconditional release from the DSS custody due to his health issue. The indigenous people of the Biafra has now asked the Department of State Services to release their leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, unconditionally to enable him to have access to proper medical attention. According to, Ifeanyi Ejimefo, the IPOB lead counsel, in a statement that was released yesterday, said, and I quote, Nnamdi Kanu's health condition is deteriorating, is owing to the administration of substandard drugs on him. Following the court order routine visit to Kanu at the DSS headquarters on Thursday yesterday, it was discovered, according to his lawyer, that the agency is deliberately refusing to avail Kanu of prescribed possible medical relief.
Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. Now, let me read a bit of statement that Sowore posted. He said, I traveled to the headquarters of the DSS today upon invitation of unjustly detained IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu, but after waiting for several hours, the DSS people told me I can't see him because time for visitation has closed. And that is crazy. Because I mean,
you're quite right, and this is when you look at President Muhammadu Buhari spoke at the United Nations General Assembly. He talked about freedom of speech, freedom of movement, and freedom of who you want to associate with. I don't think the government literally want to see any association between the IPOB leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and someone like Omoyele Sowore. So they've actually given an excuse. After waiting all day, it was not allowed to have that meeting.
Well, I've got Frank here. Let me say good morning to Frank.
Archie, good morning. Good morning to our listeners, our viewers, wherever they are. Olayomi, good morning. Yeah.
How are you? How are you?
Actually, I'm doing very well. I
saw that you were smiling in the background because somebody's been there. He said he was there for hours. Then it comes to say, visiting hours expire.
Our governments use the state institution to achieve their goals, irrespective of whichever way they.
Can we get Frank a little bit?
Yes, I'm doing that.
Actually, the one thing that is very certain is that when it comes to the use of institutions, sorry about that, the use of institution by, oh Jesus,
just bear with us. Just bear with us. Okay.
When it comes to the use of institutions to achieve goals that are undesirable, our governments are very good at that. The other thing that we've come to note is that these same people do not want, our governments do not want a bad press outside. And that is why you see the president and the government of Ghana, for instance, will pay for stories to be planted in Bloomberg and others. And you see Laya Mohammed traveling all the way to hold a press conference for what they call it, a media insert for foreign what they call it, media. It tells you how much they cherish the image that they want to exude outside. When you see them standing outside, when you see them basically talking on West stage, they sound as if when you get to their backyard, they are the best of the presidents that you can actually talk of. Buhari will go and be talking of freedom of speech. They need for that, and freedom of speech and enshrined democracy. They need for that. Meanwhile, look at his backyard, and undemocratic practices are the ascendancy. You talk about Nana Akufo-Addo, who then blame what you call it, Russia and Ukraine for the mismanagement, thievery, and the corruption backyard. Look, actually, what I think we should do now, the citizens must take the initiative into their hands. The media, we do not have what I call a genuinely people-oriented media in most of African countries. Most of these journalists have been bought by the politicians. So you do not get journalists who will take the government, or media houses who take governments on it, because this is how stories will be known. If you look at the citizens' action which happened at what they call it, the protests that come after the SA kill those people, what they call it, that bridge, what called
Lekki bridge.
Yes, you saw the world media got involved, CNN had that, and government was very uncomfortable. What has happened to the media after that? Those information that went out did not come from the major media houses. They came from tweets, online trends from ordinary citizens, citizens' action. That is what led to that. When you take the mainstream media, they are not even interested in projecting what is going wrong within the country. Under normal circumstances, we get information here from where? The media. Are you getting? We glue to the media. We glue to this thing because we deem the media a bit credible. In our part of the world, no. But I mean, they are not interested. No, they are not interested, and therefore they sit on the media, and whatever they want to do is to do things that project the government. Are you getting? This Shuera case, Archie, it should be on every media now. It should now. They should be questioning the Why? Okay, what does the law say when I visit your premises to see someone? Why did you delay me for all that? And is someone, are we going to have a bit of people going to say, okay, we're taking this institution on, suing them? Because if someone has invited everyone in custody has a right
to invite someone.
Now, we never can tell what he wanted to discuss with him. If it has to do with his health, if it has to do with the ongoing agitation, if it has to do with some confidential information that might help his defense, now you have deprived him of that. This is not justice being served. This is not justice being served. Archie, you know, but these same people will come to, but when Buhari gets back to Nigeria, oh, do you see the escort that is going on? The presidential escort. He's killed. Are you getting me? But the media should be at the forefront saying, because if it happened to Suere, it will happen to me. It will happen to anybody. Because if Suere can be, treated this way, how much more me?
Well, how much more him? Well, if you want to know what is happening, well, you can continue to listen to us on Starr Radio UK. Let me read a couple of stories, comments there. Prince Abimbola says, good morning, Mr. Archie, White Lion. Thank God it's Friday. Yoruba Nation, now. He said, there's a rally going on in Agege, Lagos now. Yes, send us more information about, let me know how many people are there and how it's all going. Adeshola, I said, good morning, Mr. Koiki and Mr. Archie. Okay, God bless you, sir. God bless you too. God bless you too. And thank you very much. As many of you on the other platforms, just post your comments. I promise you one thing for sure. I'm going to read that. But it's Starr Radio UK. Updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. Mr. Frank Davis with me in the studios here. I'm Archie. And we continue with the show with you there. Now, Yomi, yes, NLC tells Buhari's regime to pay health workers hazard allowance. Hey! What allowance is that?
well, I don't think that is that is going to happen. Let's be honest with ourselves. Yes, the government does not listen to any of the the Nigerian Labour Congress. Neither does it listen to any of these unions. But yes, they are doing their best according to what we have. Your reward is not only in heaven but here on the earth. I urge you to learn so you can discharge quality healthcare services to Nigerians, according to the Nigerian Labour Congress. Ayuba Wahab, remember they had a 2 days outing some few months back, but I don't think in the case of Nigeria, a 2 days protest is more than enough to allow the government to listen to you. I mean we've seen some of the students blocking the airport. We shouldn't get to this stage until we have the governance of the government coming closer to your doorsteps. But President Muhammadu Buhari regime to immediately begin payment of health allowance to. Remember during the COVID, we saw that almost all countries around the world literally have to support the healthcare workers because they were in the front line. And in Nigeria, Mr. Wahab made the call during the annual FCT Nurses Week and Scientific Workshop of the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives yesterday in Abuja. Many health workers are falling victim to disease in taking care of patients, and that is why he says he salute the nurses and the midwives. Your reward is not only in heaven but here on the earth. So the headline says NLC tells President Muhammadu Buhari regime to pay health workers hazard allowance.
Okay, will they pay it or not? Well, we know when it comes to the ASU, they've not been able to actually end the stalemate there, but it's still going on. The banter still goes on. But well, so we jump straight to ASU. Now, ASU have decided that upon all the court's ruling that go back to the lecture room to go and lecture and do stuff, they say we're not going because we think we want more that the government can give. The government also saying that, look, we don't have any to give. We're not going to go beyond the 23 point whatever percentage increment that we are proposing. So what do you think is happening there?
Well, like I said, there's the issue when it comes to the government is something that is a very, very difficult one. Just as we talk about even the ICRC is is also demanding urgent action to protect journalists in armed conflict. So in Nigeria, as the ASU strike continue, even though we talked about the court, in the industrial court, asking them to, to go back, to lecture room, but they're not going to go back into the lecture room, because what they're saying is ASU appeals ruling says federal government has now declared war. It looks like we now have different war on the multiple fronts. The military are fighting the Boko Haram, the ISWAP, and the ISIS. The ISIS actually attacked, a police station, day before yesterday in Ondo State. But it seems now that also says the federal government is declaring war on them. So I don't know how many wars the government has to fight, internally. It's not like we're fighting external war. According to the striking academic staff union of the university today, filed an appeal against the ruling of the National Industrial Court, which directs its members to resume war. The counsel for the lawyer for ASU, rather, Femi Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, disclosed this in an interview yesterday. ASU strike started on the 14th of February this year, and that means that still goes on, and nobody's backing down. Neither is the union backing down, neither is the federal government backing down, but it seems the federal government is trying to use the industrial court to force ASU to return back to class.
Well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki. Now let's move on. Somebody has posted a question, is saying that or a comment saying that he thinks that it might be the deterioration of Nnamdi Kanu's health. Is that bad? That is why the DSS is stopping from seeing him.
I mean, whichever way it is very, very bad. I mean, is Nigeria North Korea? I mean, I don't think even Russia is gone that bad, because at the end of the day, this is a person that, don't forget, the circumstances under which this person was arrested are still very questionable. You put a person on trial, and if you cannot allow even people, well, they know Suera is talkative, I mean, you can't publicly, but if you cannot allow him to be seen, you raise suspicion, and everything that you've done now is to basically anger his followers more, and this person has a strategic interest and stake in the agitation that is ongoing. Do you think if something should happen to him now, what are you going to be able to do? To call them, kill them to submission? I mean, brutalize them to submission? It's not going to happen. Archie, I keep on saying every day, most African countries keep on doing this. It's just like putting more pressure on butter in a butter. It gets to a point,
it's going to explode.
It will explode. Once it's exploded, you can't contain it. You can't contain it. It doesn't help. It doesn't help at all.
Well, the truth will definitely come out one day, but we all hope to see. And then here Ade Jibril says, good morning, everyone. Yoruba Nation now. Moyiwa Shiniga says, good morning, house. Just coming in. Hope I'm not too late. Moyiwa, you're not too late. You are still here. So enjoy the show. Do me a massive favor. Share the broadcast with your friends and loved ones there. All right, then. Now, we'll go back to Yomi, where in the background at the moment, there are some of the events of the rally that is going on in Agege, I presume, at the moment. So let's go back to Yomi for more of the stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, you're quite right, and that's the the live transmission coming, and that's the beauty of the technology. We can literally connect to any part of the world. So right now, as we speak, there's a peaceful rally that is going on in Lagos State. I mean, remember that there was one that was held last year, but that literally had a lot of issues with the Lagos State government. But as more Yorubas continue their peaceful engagement and peaceful awareness across, the Yoruba land, just as we are also having an event going on in Ibadan, which is, the Kiriji War. I'll give you a little bit background to that as well. The Kiriji War was quite a lot of war that was fought, in Nigeria during, a very long time, between a lot of the Yorubas, but there's a unity now, and that is actually going on in Ibadan as we speak right now. But what you've just been watching behind me is, is the ongoing peaceful mega rally that is currently taking place in Agege in Lagos State, southwest of Nigeria. So we'll leave that image for the time being, and then I'm going to go straight to more other headlines as we have it as well. Once again, if you're watching us, remember to subscribe on Star Radio UK. Follow us on Twitter. Remember to follow us on all our social media and do. But if you're sending money to your loved ones back in Nigeria, remember to use send waves, and if you're doing it for the first time so that you can get a bit of discount, use S for star, R for radio for the code that will give you that. So we'll leave that image running behind a little bit, and then let me take you now to some of the more other headlines coming out of Nigeria today. Once again, it is the 23rd of September 2022. Wike says, I'm not going anywhere. I still remain a full member of the PDP. He was actually referring to Atiku that left the party in 2014-2015 because he was not going to be getting the ticket. Remember that Jonathan was contesting us at that time. So Atiku left the party, but it seems the wrangling is still going on. Atiku, PDP declare Wike, Makinde begin campaign on Wednesday. So that is still going on. Wike also says to expose bad characters in the PDP today. So we are waiting for that. Reaction trailed Tinubu's meeting with the Northern Pentecost Bishop. Remember that the APC brought out, both the president and the vice president candidate to be a Muslim, and that is going to create a lot of problems, for those that are Christians. But it seems Tinubu is trying his best to make sure he can actually have, the Pentecost, to go align with him. So let's take a bit of what he has actually said. It was a closed-door meeting between the presidential candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, and the Pentecost Bishop Forum of the Northern Nigeria in Abuja came under scrutiny yesterday night. The social media page of the former governor of Lagos State were bombarded with mixed reaction from cross-section of Nigerians, especially on Facebook and Twitter, hours after the exclusive photographs of him and the Northern clerics in Abuja campaign office hit the internet. The development is coming barely 3 months after the Christian Association of Nigeria disassociated itself from the presence of some alleged bishop and pastor at the unveiling of the vice president candidate Shetima. Remember, we had this fake bishop, and some of them now we find out that they're just side road different jobs that they're doing. I'll take one more, come back to you in the studio. It seems the governor of Ondo State in southwest of Nigeria is not actually pleased that the security outfit in Katsina has been allowed to carry AK-47 to protect the citizens in the northern part of Katsina, as against the southwest, where the Amotekun are just allowed to carry a double barrel. Akeredolu, the governor of Ondo State, films as the federal government denies Amotekun firearms license. This is what the governor had to say, that was released by his chief press secretary, Mr. Richard Olatunde. Denying Amotekun the right to bear arms, according to the governor, would expose the southwest to life-threatening marauders and organized crime. The video making rounds showing the equivalent of the Western Nigerian Security Network in Katsina obtaining federal government approval to bear arms is fraught with great danger, the statement read. Denying Amotekun the urgently needed right to legitimately bear arms is repudiation of basis of true federalism, which we have been clamoring for. The Katsina was able to arm its state security force with display of an AK-47, means we are pursuing a one country, two system solution to the national question. If the Katsina situation confers advantage on some in the face of commonly faced essential threat, it means that our unitary policing system, which has failed, is a deliberate method of subjugation which must be challenged. The independent agreement was based on democratic agreement to have a federal state devolve internal security mechanism. We must go back to that agreement. Denying Amotekun the right to bear arms expose the southwest to life-threatening terrorists and organized crime. Star Radio UK, I come back again to you now in the studio, Mr. Archie.
Well, listen, it's quite interesting stories making the rounds from Nigeria. We're going to be looking at a couple of them. But let me read some of the posts. Prince OG says, I'm not surprised with all the disaster falling Nigeria, because what else do you Nigerians expect from a coup plotter? Buhari's government lacks integrity. That's what he's saying there. All right, what do you think? Yes. Now, let's come to the Muslim ticket, and then we'll come to Amotekun. Now, Frank, interestingly, now we look at the Muslim ticket. Now, even when we have a Muslim Christian tickets. We see what is going on in the north. Yesterday we did talk about Deborah, who was stoned to death because he's made a statement or something, that she was stoned to death, and everything that happened from there. Now we're seeing even that where we have Muslim Christian, that's what we are seeing now. Muslim virtually. I mean, so people are saying we don't actually like it, but we have Tinubu who is going on to say no worries at all, everything is cool. What do you think he can do?
Tinubu is a Muslim, yeah?
Yep.
Okay, and he has a Muslim as his name.
Yeah.
Actually, to be honest with you, under normal circumstances, Muslim ticket, Christian ticket,
shouldn't have.
I don't have a problem with it, because at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, Christian Muslim tickets, what has it translated into? We had Yaradua, we have, I mean, Jonathan. Let's go to just a few distant memory that we can actually just I mean remember, and then we have Buhari, our godfather, and what they call it, the godfather of failure for, and Osibanjo. Christian Muslim, what has it translated into? Look, Archie, we've seen more Christians being killed. We've seen more Muslims being killed. Right? We've seen poverty rates going up. We've seen unemployment rate going up. We've seen kidnapping and violence going up. We've seen everything that is undesirable of a country that should be developing going up. Are you getting me? The only thing that we can see that is getting favorable is how rich the politicians are becoming and how corrupt they are becoming. That is what you can write home and say, okay, this is doing, unless I don't know. So, and I invite people to come and tell me what is going right. Generally, are you getting me? To the extent that even food that is meant for poor people in COVID, politicians will be holding it for I mean for campaign purposes. So for me, it actually does not matter what I say Muslim. But you see, in Nigeria, it's a different scenario. When you have a perception, and we cannot discount it, when you have a perception in the southern part of this and then southeastern part of Nigeria, and you have this strong agitation about people, their lands being taken by Fulanis and the Muslim. Olayomi is a Muslim. But he comes from a different part of the country. Right? So under normal situation, the Muslim ticket should not be a problem. But the problem is if you have perception saying that, okay, Muslim leader demands, there was a news item that it's a Muslim ticket that they will support, basically positioning them again to take over, then you actually are telling the Christians in that country, how are we going to be saved? How are we going to be saved? Even when we had our man over there, we were not. Are we now, again, perception, whether it's true or not, documents were there to show, or documents have been released in the past to show that they want to turn Nigeria to a Muslim state, an Islamic state. Is that a move that we are seeing? So you raise a lot of questions. How are you going to assure people? Well, I would have preferred you do not even introduce a topic for that speculation to dominate even the discussions in the first place. If I were him, I wouldn't have gone that way. But what I'm trying to say that Muslim, Christian, whatever, does not actually translate into the bread and butter which matters for what do you call it? The common Nigeria. It doesn't.
Anthony Adedeji, good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us, Star Radio UK. Let me come to Yomi. Now, Yomi, so we know that it looks like the APC are still going on there. I mean, and we have Tinubu going around trying to, I mean, rally support for his choice of running mate. But what do you think on the ground? Nigerians actually are saying, do you think it's going to go into his favor? Is he being able to convince our voters now to go and vote for him?
Well, I mean, Tinubu and Shetima and the APC campaign are trying to be very, very careful, because the issue of not having a candidate from the Christian is going to be a tough one to sell their candidacy, to the millions of Nigerians. But what the public opinion has been that some are trying to accept it, to say we can just have a country that can work regardless of the issue of whether it's a Christian or Muslim, as long as we have the qualities. But there is also, looking at the issues that has been on the table for a very long time. We're talking about, the current present problem that we have in Nigeria, and bringing them to the face of Nigerians, Muslim, it will be very, very difficult to sell to an average Nigerian on the street. Yes, some of the leaders of the Christianity, like, he was speaking to the Pentecost, yesterday in Abuja, and the reaction was not a very good one, because a lot of people, reacted, quickly on that after the images, came out outside. But let me look at what, the former speaker, Dugara, had predicted that adopting a Muslim ticket was a fruitless political effort that was doomed to end in a spectacular failure. The ex-speaker made the statement while delivering his keynote summit Meet the Church that was organized again by the Nigerian National Christian Coalition. Lawal, on the other hand, vowed that the introduction of a same-faith ticket by the APC was a deliberate plan to further create division in the North. So how they're going to sell this to Nigerians, we'll have to wait and see, as the election is about, according to INEC yesterday, I was listening to them, about 150, but we have it on our timeline here, 140. But as you can see, there's also a lot of those that believe that Nigeria is no longer working for them. So that means everything is on the table, and the unity of Nigeria again is now being questioned this time around again.
Well, will the election even hold or not? Let's follow it closely. Prince OG says Nigeria government is a government of the North, for the North, by the North. Southern government should continue sleeping till terrorists take over our land. Akeredolu, his boldness amazes me, but other governors seem to be crippled and dull. That's what he is saying there. And Oduatide, he says equator to you as well. So it's interesting, but as to whether even that election will take place at all, because
it will. I mean, if it will, they will use the force. I mean, when Russia is organizing election in Donbass area as we speak, where people go from door to door trying to ask you, are you interested in being a Russian, or you are interested in being Ukraine? What are they going to vote for yourself if you see soldiers asking you? So that election, I mean, the only thing we're going to see a lot of unrest, a lot of casualties, and a lot of that. And one would have thought that a national discussion would have actually taken place before the election, but it's going to go ahead. But actually, I want Nigerian citizens to take action. We should be more concerned about the future of Nigeria. I think we're becoming a timid generation. Yeah. And for me, that is where my concern. We are becoming too much of a timid generation, controlled generation, actually collapsing under the very eyes of people who actually want us to collapse. Now, I say, if this is how our forefathers did, probably would have been in slavery by now. Yeah. So, for me, it is the actions of the youth, especially people below 45. I mean, people below 45, between 15 to 45. I see them as the majority. Yeah. We need a national consensus. The youth must come out and say this is not going to happen. But the politicians also know that, and therefore, amongst us, they will buy and that
plant them amongst
a few of us are well taken off, and money answers all things. But we need an aggressive youth movement in Nigeria. And listeners, if we're talking about Nigeria this way, because Nigeria actually is a backbone of Africa.
Yeah, the giant of Africa.
If Nigeria progresses, the rest of the African country progresses.
Of course.
Until Nigeria sees a future, a clear future, forget it, we all be dancing around it. I say it every day. Nigerians are in Ghana, but I tell you what, the power of Nigeria, if it's able to pull itself out of the misery, a lot of African countries will pull themselves out of the misery.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay. Starr Radio UK 11:43. We know our time is fast spent, but a quick one on the Ametocon issue, where the federal government seemed to deny them the right to use arms, guns. Now they've allowed those in the north to do so. Meanwhile, those in the south, We don't have the federal government security agencies standing maybe at the various checkpoints or entrances of the southern states. So anybody can just come in and come and do anything, knowing that you don't have anything to defend yourself. They come in and do whatever they want to do. So do you think it was right for the federal government to deny the Amatekon using having firearms? Let me put it that way. First of all, let me come to Yomi and then we'll come to Frank. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the issue of the firearms, it's something that it goes back again to the state police. We've talked about the state police where we can have, crime being dealt with locally, and that will have resolved this. But it seems there's also a fear that some of the governors might abuse that, and apparently that has not gone through. I mean, it's not in the constitution, but there's a push for that. And whether that is going to happen, we'll have to wait and see. But in terms of governor of Ondo State, remember that it was a state that was attacked, in Owo massacre, that the terrorists invaded, the Catholic St. Francis Catholic Church, and a lot of people were killed. And it seems politics again is being played out here. But who is actually behind issuing the firearms to those in the north, as against not allowing that? Even the interview I had with the governor of Benue State 2 weeks ago precisely now, he did talk with, because we talked about the insecurity. They have set up a security outfit as well. They are waiting to get a license. I'm not sure whether that license is going to come through, but it seems some states have more access. Could it be maybe those states have got more problems in terms of the insecurity? Remember that Castina is the state of the federal, the president, and his motorcade was attacked, this year, and likewise, they were kidnapped. That also happened just some few miles when the president was having, some retreat back in his home state. But could that be where there's a more problem as against Benue State that is also facing similar problems, and likewise southwest of Nigeria in Ondo State?
Now, Frank, let me come to you. Now, do you think that is because of the fear of cessation that is going on? The southeast, the southwest, the middle belt. Are also facing all these threats, and they think that no, we need that. The government looking at it that these people, if we arm them now legally or constitutionally, they will take over. Is that what seems to be their fear of threats?
The arming of Amatekun, for me, it's not a bad idea, especially in the face of bandits and other criminals organization. But you see, if you say you're not going to arm them, then you're telling me that arming the police is also, because from my understanding, these people are supposed to help in defense of these villages, the town, and other things. And to be able to help basically where the police and the military might not be present to help. So for me, I do not see, if it is structured properly, if it is controlled properly, I do not see how that will become a problem in terms of giving them arms. Are you get me?
Yeah.
Unless, of course, you do not have control of the recruitment process, for which, if there's a need to do so, you need to find out proper vetting of individuals. Because actually, a gun in the hands of anyone, criminals can be involved. We've seen it in Ghana, where in fact police officers have been caught, arrested, and military personnel have been caught and arrested, involved in criminality, armed robbery, robbing of bullion vans. Are you getting? So guns in the arms of wrong people can cause a lot of problem. And that is why scrutinizing and vetting process is very, very key. But if these people are going to serve as the first defense for some of these communities, you can't tell me they should go and be using David Starr catapults. Catapults, they don't go a distance that, or they should go and be using.
Have a gun, come to shoot you. I mean, have a catapult.
The David days are over. The David days are over. The time of what they call gladiators fighting are over. That is not the kind of fighting we're doing over here. I mean, if you saw the Crossfire yesterday, that series, someone was trying. I mean, bullets flying at distance. So at the end of the day, they should arm them. They should arm them if they. But actually, in arming them, individuals must have their records captured. The guns must be numbered. And I've always wondered, why has technology up to date, not been able to make it possible for us to track guns.
They have serial numbers on it.
So
even
why
the
can't,
bullets that
so why
are used
can't
have
we
got
just
serial
put
numbers on them?
GPS tracking on them so that we know a gun has been handed over to Frank?
It's here.
It's here. It's here because we can tag individuals.
Yeah.
We can tag individual move. So actually, we need to invest in that. We need to invest in them, protect lives.
Well, we need to invest in that. What do you think? Post your comments, and I tell you that we're going to read all that for you. But now let's go to Yomi, because I know that our time is fast spent. But still, the rally that is going on. Can you talk briefly about us? That one before we go to the social media coverage.
Well, as you can see, I mean, when you look at the traffic there, just as New York, London, traffic is almost everywhere. But let's talk about some of the transportation mode that we can see there. That is known as Keke Napel. Keke Napel is one of the most important transport systems being used. Remember that even after the ban of Okada, you would have probably seen more Okada flying those routes, because Agege is a very busy route. Quite a lot of development is going on there, but not to the extent to accommodate the people in that environment. There's about 20 million people living in Lagos State, working in and out. It's a very busy hub. But the problem is development is still far away from the people. So what you are watching right now, to your right hand side, because they actually have to keep to one side of the road, is the peaceful rally that is currently going on live from Lagos State, as you can watch it right there on Starr Radio UK. So in terms of other events as well, let's take you straight to the social media, because time is fast spent already. Let's take a look at what African Confidential actually said some 7 hours ago. Which one is vote the right candidate? How can you have a right candidate in a wrong system like Nigeria, with a question mark? Shey una no just one get sense? Question mark. Dismantle this fraudulent system completely. Quit voting quit voting in a wrong system, expecting a right leader. You are all validating that system. Again, Wike seems to be trending. He's actually taking over, the Twitter space this week. He's trending at about 43,000 tweets. And again, like I said at the beginning of this week, it seems Wike is just that bone, in the neck of Atiku, and until he gets what he wants, we're not too sure what is going to be the end result of PDP. So let's now touch on some other tweet coming out of Nigeria today. Once again, as we're ending, this broadcast as well. ISWAP terrorists announced presence in southwest Nigeria and have there claimed responsibility for the attack on a police vehicle in Ondo State. Simon Ekpa has responded to that. While we are busy lamenting, asking that you fund the Biafra exit in 2023, the terrorist government are busy promising you a position, while the terrorists are positioning themselves for jihad, invasion of the southern Nigeria, and convert the region to Islamic State. The message of the governor Akeredolu has been retweeted almost 5,289 times, and the last one is coming from Neferati, one follower of Labour Party, and she says there, "My people, his name is Prophet Isa Ebubu. Please follow him. He did not only put the divisive Mahdi Shehu where he belonged, he's a force for the truth in the north." And I guess there's a video that we can't play that, but I'm going to take just one more. More. People are watching all what we are doing. People are watching. Keep doing your best for Peter Obi emergency as the Nigerian 16th president. That's where we're going to end this, this Friday edition on the Starr Radio UK Nigeria update. And I'm going to be leaving you with Frank and Archie that will take you through the rest of the program. But the weekend is all about Starr Radio UK, where it's all going to be happening. But also over the weekend, quite a lot of activities is going to be happening. Later on on Sunday, why Governor Akeredolu waiting for approval to harm, that is going to be happening on his Twitter space. And likewise, the Yoruba Clubhouse is also having the Professor Banji Akintoye and Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho today at about 4 p.m. set a reminder, imperative of unity for realization of Yoruba nation, Professor Banji Akintoye and Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. Quite a very important one to listen to for those that are following the Yoruba nation. And on that note, it's Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London.
Yummy, let me say thank you very much for this wonderful update and this time with you.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye. Well, listeners, that was Mr. Olayomi Koiki bringing you updates from Nigeria. We're going to take a quick break, and once we come back, we'll jump on to look at some of the other stories making the rounds this morning. As I did say earlier on, well, the Chancellor of the Exchequer, Wetu Kwatin, has come out with the mini budget. How is it going to impact you? Well, we'll be looking into that. Well, maybe a reduction in the your NI. Maybe that is helping 1.25%. Well. How is that going to, better your life? You want to know more? Continue to stay tuned. And then we'll be looking at some of the stories. Aisha wants counting narrow charges, protecting accomplices in high places. You know, interestingly, the coup plotters, alleged coup plotters back in Ghana, I've forgotten the name, the doctor and the police.
The kitchen knife course.
Yes. They managed to, put lots of charges against them and raise the whole thing to treason. But now we have Aisha One that is facing some scanty charges that by the time you say Jack, you just throw the thing out of court and then she will be on her way back to the mines where she's doing all that. This and a lot more going to be coming your way. Don't you go away. But Bishop Adesina says, yes, we can invest in data-based records tracking, but the power that be themselves are the one negating successful database to hide the atrocity. That's pertaining to the gun issue that we're talking about. That we could, track all of them. He says that yes, he knows that they can do that, because the other time he was on Niger Voices and then he talked about security issues on that front. And this one he said yes.
And actually the other thing is that look, no one can tell me that if you take the Boko Haram and those, some of them move with vehicles and other things. Nobody can tell me that we cannot trace how they because every vehicle has an identification number. Just like every mobile phone will have international mobile identification number, and that it doesn't matter whether you move from Afghanistan to Nyankbala or from Nyankbala to Kazakhstan. If you pick that MIE number, you are able to trace the source of it. Preferably, you can even trace where it is being used to make calls. So if we cannot do that, then it becomes a problem. You recall in Ghana when we had the kidnapping of the the Canadian citizens. What happened was the Canadian authorities were able to work closely with the Ghanaian authorities to trace the mobile signals. They trace the mobile signals from a mobile tower to the phone to know the geolocation of those posts. And no one should tell me that, look, as we speak now, the African headquarters of Cisco is in Nigeria. There are a lot of tech giants who are Nigerian globally. When it comes to telecom, there are a lot of so no one should be able to tell me that, look, we can have this madness going on and Nigerians are not capable of actually solving the problem. They can't. But he's right. Those involved, their interests. For all you know, some of the bandits are working for them.
Some of
the bandits are working for them. They are working for them. I get me. That's why for me, I've got to a point where my only resolve now that citizens must take. Look, it used to be a battle between the citizens, the nation, as we call it, and the colonial masters. Today, the battle is between the political class and the masses. That is where that is the second level and the more difficult level of oppression that we face now. If our forefathers fought it and were able to succeed with this, we should also be able to do it. The only thing is, there are tribal elements that interweaved in our resolve to be able to unite ourselves and then religious elements also coming between our ability to unite as a people. Because if you look at what happened in February 28th crossroads shooting, it was a national resolve that we cannot continue to absorb this. The youth of Africa must come to a point where they say enough is enough. Our forefathers did not fight colonial masters so that we can become slaves again to our political elites.
Well, I've been saying it all the time that if you believe in a cause, you stand for it. It might cost you greatly, But at the end of the day, you know that your sacrifice is worth whatever what sacrifice that you have. Your children, maybe you will not even enjoy it, but you know that at least your children will have the right to education, good health, peaceful, life, and a good economy as well to live in. But well, listeners, it is Star Radio UK. As I said, I'm going to bring you some lovely tune there. But Prince OG says, Buhari's family headsmen called bandits terrorists are moving around the AK with AK-47 and AK-49. And meanwhile, the Amaticon who are supposed to defend the people are saying, they said, no, you can't have anything. Come with your sticks or your bats or your catapults to come and fight them. Well, a lot more going to be coming your way, but continue to put your comments on our Facebook page, and I promise you one thing for sure, we're going to read that in just a few seconds to 12. Enjoy this song from Mika Paris. It says, something inside so strong.
Your barriers, the taller I become, the further you take my rights away, the faster I will run. You can deny me, you can decide to turn your face away. No matter, 'cause there's something inside so strong. I know that I can make it, though you're doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone. Oh no, something inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong.
Broadcasting worldwide, online 24/7.
All around the world.
Hear my voice. The louder I will sing. You hide behind walls of Jericho. Your lies will come tumbling. Deny my place in time. You squander wealth that's mine. My light will shine so brightly it will blind you. 'Cause there is
In your car,
At work,
at home,
on your smartphone.
This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio. This is Starr Radio UK.
doing me wrong, so wrong. You thought that my pride was gone.
Star Radio. Radio for the people, by the
Something
people.
inside so strong. Oh, something inside so strong. Brothers and sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough. Well, we know better. Just look him in the eyes and say,
Hi guys, this is your friend Uruj from SendWave. SendWave is a money transfer app that is used by people all over the world to send money to their loved ones in Africa. With SendWave, you can send money to Ghana, Nigeria, Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. And the best part is, SendWave is absolutely commission-free. Our exchange rates are excellent. You can see for yourself by checking them out on our website. So how do you use SendWave? SendWave is an app that you can download onto your phone from the App Store or Google Play Store. The app is free to download. After downloading it, just open the app and enter your name, email, and phone number. That's it. You're good to go. Make sure you use the promo code SR. S for Star, R for Radio. This promo code will give you £5 free credit to send to Africa on your first transaction. Your money will be delivered to your recipient within seconds. Feel free to call me on 0749 7377 647 at any time. I'll be happy to tell you all about SendWave and help you in any way I can. Remember to use the promo code SR for £5 free credit. Medasse.
Hi everyone, it's your girl BB Clement, the author of How to Go From Employee to Entrepreneur and the host of your weekly business show, BB Means Business, the show where we discuss everything you ever wanted to know about business but you were afraid to ask. How do I start my business? How do I raise the finance? How do I grow my business? Where am I going to find my customers? Join me every Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. on Starr Radio UK to get all the information and tips that you need to become a successful entrepreneur and become financially free. Remember, don't let life dictate to you. Rather, put your signature on life.
Are you looking for the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy door-to-door shipment company? Well, look no further. When was the last time your family received a shipment back in Ghana on time and in time? You are not sure? Well, Lamb Shippers, we pride ourselves with being the fastest, reliable, and trustworthy shippers you can use. You are assured of a prompt pickup anywhere in the UK by our personnel. They also make sure your items are well packaged to get to its destination in time. When it comes to door-to-door shipment, look no further. Well, Lamb Shippers, contact us on 07939009321 or 07498911820, or you can visit our website www.welllamb.co.uk. You can also drop us a mail, info@welllamb@gmail.com. Well Lamb Shippers, fast, reliable, and trustworthy. Okay, welcome back to the program. It is Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. 7 minutes past 12, the time. It is a Friday edition of the morning show. As I said, a mini budget has been released. How is it going to actually impact you? Well, we had only yesterday the governor of the Bank of England, or the Bank of England, coming out with another increment in interest rate. 0.5%, now bringing it to 2.25%. How has it hit you? Well, fortunately, you have some ease, where now when it comes to your NI, they've reduced it by 1.25%, the increment that the former Chancellor Rishi Sunak added. But what? How is it going to benefit you, especially those of you who are not making big money? Because if you are making 12,500, you're not going to see anything, and if you are making up to 20,000, how much are you going to actually see, and how is it going to help you? But people are saying that the government is doing its best, introducing all sorts to help us cruise through these difficult times. But I'll be coming to that in a moment. But it is Starr Radio UK. Let's go straight to Ghana, where a couple of the stories has been put across as well. Let's look at it and I come back to you. The law school entrance exams has been cancelled and rescheduled after a leak. Now, when it comes to this law school in Ghana, first of all, they decided that exams have been marked, and they said that now lots of people passed, and therefore decided to now whether to stop some people. So it became something like a club for the house, and therefore if you don't belong to that, you cannot come. And we have various people coming to defend that. Now another exam is supposed to be taken, and now there's a leakage. Is it the student who went to leak it, or the lecturers, or who?
But the students don't set the exam for themselves.
That's it.
the students don't set the exam for themselves. The question is those who set the exam should be 100% responsible for this. Actually, the sad situation, no one is going to take responsibility for this. It's going to be something that will. This is not West Africa examination that we're talking of. We're talking about an entrance exam, a controlled exam.
Yeah,
we're talking of where a few people, I mean, under the General Legal Council, are actually responsible for this. So we should be able to know who are those directly involved in this, from the printer, or I mean, even these days, the printers print some of these exams in the morning, or the exams. So is it
especially when there's only one center where they are writing the exams?
And is it the case that the papers were leaked to some people so that their wards could have them, so that when they go, my daughter, I'm a lawyer, my daughter has passed.
Yes.
My son has passed. Could those daughters also have boyfriend that they want to take along with them?
So they also link it to them.
But actually, someone should be taking responsibility for this, saying that, look, it was under my watch that this happened, and therefore I step aside to make way for a competent board, a competent committee to be able to run it. This is not the first time that papers have leaked. Even this year in July, we also have an independent examination board that had to cancel the civil procedure paper that also leaked again.
Interesting.
Yeah, the civil procedure paper at the School of Law, because it was suspected to have leaked hours before the time it was, and that was a paper within. I mean, the campus itself. All this, the mindset, the evil mindset to always cheat, the evil mindset to always profit where you're not supposed to, where you are not profit. I think that's fueling this. Someone might have sold this for money. Someone might want to give undue advantage to someone. These are the two things that could possibly undermine the whole examination board of what they call it, a law school. And these are the people who come back to tell her they are qualified lawyers.
Yeah.
Cheating your way in, cheating your way out.
So when you are delivering justice, what will you do?
You take money to give justice, because that's what you know. That is what you know. Every time that you have confronted with, I mean, proving that you can do something, you cheat your way out. I'm sad, but we want to see someone taking responsibility, someone being able to say that, oh no, this cannot happen. It was under my watch and I step aside for a complaint. But until that happen, all they have to do is, all they are doing now is to go and find ways where or what led to the leaked. That's what they, I mean,
they're going to be doing.
Yeah.
Okay. Listeners, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Mr. Frank Davis for you. Now, let's touch on this other story before we come to Aisha Wan's story. Now, pertaining to the scribe, the chief scribe of the NDC and the current chairman. Now, the chief scribe have come out to say that, look, I'm not going to, compete or contend for the chief scribe's office, that the general secretary's office. Okay, he said he's not going to contend for that, but if he's going to do, then he's going for the chairmanship. Now I'm looking at that and just supposing it to what is happening in Nigeria now, where in the PDP there's so much confusion there, because they want the chairman, the national chairman, to resign and a lot. So making either when instead of them to be prepared to go and face APC to be able to whip them pump down, they are not doing that, but there's infighting. Now, do you think it's wise for as you think you have to say want to contend?
Actually, I think it's the right thing to do, not because you win or you not win, but I do believe it is within their calendar to elect national the constituency executive, regional executive to national executives. So if within that he wants to contest, in fact, there's no position that is a prerequisite of any individual, not even the flag bearer position. So when the democratic stage is set that whoever want to contest should contest, actually I do not have any problem with anyone even you are my mother, you are this and I have a position, you want to contest it,
Let's do it.
That we saw it over Ed Miliband and David
and his brother.
his brother. Actually, they should contest it. I'll urge General Mosquito, if you want to do it, go all out, do it. Let's say whoever wins. If you win, you win. If you lose, you lose. The only problem we see, he is a national general secretary. The other one is what
national chairman.
How are they going to battle the issue of monitoring the electoral process fairly? That is my only way. Are they going to allow it to run fairly, or everybody is going to try and use their position to outweigh or do things that that are untoward? That's the only concern I have. But if you look at what is happening in Nigeria, the PDP issue, this is not an election that is taking place. It is a group of people who think that the chairman is not well resourced. But actually, in my view, he has been elected. Unless he was not elected, he was handpicked. If he was elected by the people, actually allow him to run.
You know, one issue has been the people influencing the whole competition with either bribes or stuff like that. So it makes it quite difficult there. It makes it quite difficult there because in this case, I mean, if it's a fair game, free and fair, and I mean, the outcome will be good. But when we don't see something like that, and we see that there is financial inducement going on, and that's, I mean, makes the vote, it makes it quite something different altogether.
Actually, yes, but at the end of the day, that is why I've always called that where we've gotten to, it has to take the citizens themselves. It has to take the sacrifice of individuals. It has to take the sacrifice of citizens in Nigeria or in a lot of African countries to be able to say that, look, this time around we are not going to accept what has actually devalued us as human beings, as has given us what we do not deserve over these years. Until we change that mind and begin to think future, begin to think more than what we get into our pockets today, we're not going anywhere, because politicians will gather money knowing that we are like chickens, we are like fowls. All they need to do is to gather the coins, and when it's time, spread it and you get them. Spread it and you get them. We're not different from animals.
Well, we're not different from animals, but what do you think there, Starr Radio UK? Now, moving on straight. I saw one scanty narrow charges protecting accomplices in high places. I think, was it sometime last week, and there was a publication that was saying, I've forgotten who was speaking, but said that if Aisha one shouldn't, I think there's supposed to be an alleged video of whatever that had gone on, and therefore I think somewhere of the view that she might release it.
It was Charles Bishop who was saying that releasing sex videos of Aisha, if Aisha wants to release a sex video, that would be a crime.
So do you think because of that, I mean, they are looking at the, I mean, people are scared, I mean, quivering in their boots, I mean, virtually, and therefore I think that just bring down the charges that is going to be labeled against it, so that at least to say that the defense, I mean, did very well, and then we got it out or whatever. It that seem to be what is happening.
Actually, again, this is where we have issue between individuals and the national interest. If you have sex with someone, you recorded without their consent, you release it, it's a crime in itself anyway. So Charles Bishop will be right, whether he's involved or not involved. Releasing said material, the said material will be a crime. In any case, Archie, when it comes to charges that have been leveled against Aisha, I mean, a lot of people say we are surprised. The lawyer himself has said he is surprised about the charges that were leveled against him, that it was a small matter. I mean, which he doesn't think that the noise that were being made in the media justified that. We then got to be informed that the Attorney General has called for the docket and has now looked at different charges that will be leveled against him. AC Ankuma the other time told us that the same thing happened in 2017 when Aisha was arrested. That the then Attorney General, I mean, basically tried prosecuting the woman, went to court with charges that will not even get a chicken in under a basket for Christmas dinner. So they, lawyers, Occupy Ghana, whatever, wrote a publication, wrote straight to the Attorney General, told him that, look, the law is clear. This is someone who has committed A, B, C, D crime. Why are you charging the person of with this so that the person can escape? Yet the Attorney General accepted the level charges against them, and knowing well that when they go to court, the person is going to be jailed, then they went and filed a null prosecutor. That is why they filed it, because if they have gone to the court,
definitely
they should have been jailed, because the first attempt they made was to say, okay, we went to court, the law found him not, or probably gave him fined, and then the lawyers stood up and the group stood up and said, no, we cannot accept the charges that have been brought against this lady, because there's clear a foreigner, for example, must not engage in according to our law, and the person must be charged accordingly. So the Attorney General said, okay, yes, we accept your position, we'll go to court, but again we still have the right as a state to say we do not have interest in this case. And that's exactly what they did. Is that the same thing that we're going to see over here? Now, it therefore raises questions. Which institutions are in charge of arresting, detention, and prosecuting Ashawan? Who is in control of those institutions? Who appoint the authorities, and who is behind controlling the decision-making process? Genuinely, is this government ready to prosecute Ashawan? Do not forget, we have a president on this issue who has demonstrated that he has more than 4 tongues on this very issue. He told us it was a mistake to prosecute him. He once told us that he's not sure if the guy has the lady flee, or whether he was even deported or repatriated. The same person who told us that, look, they're doing everything possible to prosecute Galamsey workers. The same person who told us that they've chalked a lot of success in fighting Galamsey. So at the end of the day, at each point in time, the president is giving you misinformation. You actually do not know the direction of the government. If Ashawan is a test case, right, or it's a test tone that we're supposed to use to judge this government about its fight against Galamsey, Archie, it's failed. Was it last week that someone was saying something that they went and was it Inusa? Inusa Fuseni, when this issue about Inusa Fuseni, the former land was discussing about how NDC fought, because there was this 5,000 number issue that was that was being banded around it, and it was look, the last time they checked, there were about, this is 2 years ago, last year, there were about 800 something champagne on Brim River alone, those who are washing gold into Brim River. Now, we were told by then Minister in charge of Lands and Mineral Resources, Peter Mewu, that they were going to buy drones. You recall that?
I remember.
That they spent 4 million something buying drones. The question is, where are the drones? Or the drones can just not fly over the Galamsey area. They are flying over
the trees are too high.
Amewu's village.
the trees are too high for them to spot.
Amewu's village near the waterfall. He lives in a very nice place, though. The mountainous area of the waterfall. He's constructed a road all the way to his place.
Is that a place nice?
All the way to his place. And then probably the drones are now overseeing the bats.
Oh, okay. In that area.
Actually, again, we are being told currently that a lot of investigation has been conducted into this case. The national security itself is sitting on tons of evidence that implicates government itself, from Jubilee House, right, from Jubilee House to the district chief executives about this Galamsey issue. An example, for instance, was, if you take an example of how previous government have done it, there was an issue that involved Galamsey. The district chief executive, I've forgotten the name, and I think it's within the Boise area, got fired by Mahama for actually, under his watch, Galamsey and Champagne going on in. Here we are, evidence that is on the table of the government. Instead of the government solving the problem, how do we make sure the public does not know this information? That's what they've been involved in.
Yeah.
How do we cover? So the government, instead of fighting the galamsey, accomplice. They say, oh, community mining. Actually, community mining is a fraud. 4 days ago, a group of people in one community came out. I'll look for the video for you, probably Monday. Came out against their MP, who came to them to tell them that President Akufo-Addo and the government wants to start community mining in this area. Then people say no, they will not accept any community mining in that area. Their cassava, their cocoa, their plantain are under threat. They will not. If that's the only job that the government thinks, then they will know. And you know what they call community mining? Community mining is to gather MPP boys, equip them for a bit of this and let them go and do all the galamsey work that they do. And that's exactly what they're doing. Actually, we've lost close to 800,000 hectares of cocoa.
Wow.
Yes, to galamsey.
Wow.
We complain our cocoa yields are going down.
It's because of that. It's because of that.
Because vast areas of cocoa land. I mean, there was a woman who I saw a video crying. She went to the husband died. The cocoa farm they went to one farm one day. Cocoa trees are down. Why? Bulldozers are there digging, and if you do, they will shoot you. Some of these people will shoot you, Archie. And this government cannot tell me that they are not part and parcel of this crime that is ongoing. Look, if Nigeria have Fulani banditry, we have galamsey banditry.
Yeah. Because this morning the Ghana Water is Ghana Water Company Limited were saying that the Pearl River areas around the Pearl River is such that they might have to stop processing the water for usage because their pumps cannot suck the mud that they turn the water into. And I'm saying that look you look at Egypt and you look at the settings there. I mean, you look at the biblical times and all those things that they have, architectural, what do you call them, archaeological things that had gone on. And they tell you that the people, some of the towns collapsed because water was no more there. And that was the end of it because people cannot live without water. And that is exactly what we seem to be doing.
As we speak now, there are areas where if you're a farmer, I've been to farm a bit. I don't know about the listeners. I don't know about you. When you're going to farm, we do get to River Dine and other things, fetch a bit of water and go. There are a lot of areas in Ashanti and Eastern region, going to Northeast region, that is deprived of them.
Wow.
You need to buy sachet water to carry with you to your home, because to your farm. You even weedicide. When you want to mix weedicide of
you have to carry your own water.
You have to actually, because the water itself is polluted. You cannot Ankobra, Brain River, you cannot do anything with it now. You cannot do anything with it. This acid, the mercury that is, you cannot, and there's evidence that women have started giving birth to deformed children.
And we don't have a system where we take care of people like that. So at
the end of the day, it is a political class that is actually committing crime against the citizens. So for me, Archie, there is a battle between the political class and the ordinary citizens. This is a class war that has been declared. And for me, if we're gonna take our spears to start fighting, I will always back it, because this is a class war. No one should tell me the courts are going to solve the system, the police are going to solve it. Our chieftaincy from Ashanti and that have all failed. They've all failed because actually, if for nothing at all, Ashanti always say, "Oh, my land. Ashanti is my kingdom."
Why are you not protecting it? Why are you not protecting it?
Your kingdom is under threat. What are you doing? Accepting the bribes yourself.
Well, they say you can't say that.
No, I can't say that. They should can't arrest me.
Well, Well, listeners, there's lots more we're going to be looking at. Let's quickly have a look at a couple of stories. Now, after the announcement by the Russian leader that, he wants to, recruit reservists, about 300,000 of them. Now, there is a stampede at the border of Russia. People fleeing, the young people, people crying, they need to go. Now, do you think that the Russians are now waking up to the fact that, look, we are killing our brothers and we don't want to go there and then lose our lives and still doing the same?
There's a reason why some of us never went to the military. So there are people who, if you give them guns today, they will might not even be able to hold it. So it's not everyone that is actually, born to be a soldier. So when it comes to that, of course, from the one, there have been people who have been against this. Look, you look at Russia and Ukraine as Ghana and Togo. And then you're looking at a group of people who might have migrated from Aplau, Keta, Deno, and all those areas, probably even to the mining sectors of the Ashanti and Obuasi areas. Asking them to go and take guns today to fight and go and fight a battle because your forces have claimed Lamakara, Labadu, Bena, and all those places of Palime, and therefore you want to claim that place and you want them to fight. Actually, Kojovi in Obuasi is not going to do that, knowing that Akuvi is my family member. So you then have that difficulty. You then have that difficulty. So yes, this is not new. This is not something that people do not expect. And I know the Russian authorities themselves know that it's not everyone that is going to be saying, "Oh yes, get it on." That's why they even started recruiting the prisoners in a way that go fight, and if you come back, we'll give you a freedom. Also, whether you come back or not is another story altogether. But they need to do what they need to do. The most important thing we should know, this is getting to where we know now that the battle is going to escalate. Because what is going today, if it continues, we know referendum is already ongoing. It's going to take about 4 days or so. People are knocking on doors. Karen, what do you call it? Chukukakre. Do you want to belong to
Ukraine or Russia?
And then you say, then they say, okay, whatever you've said means yes, you want to belong to Russia. Because they vote for you and they mark for you and they put it. So when they are counting, they will be put
landslide.
I think this is democracy.
Oh gosh.
This is where everybody is given a chance. On the last day, poll stations will be opened, and those who did not have the chance
will now go there.
And then when they count, we're sure. You remember Florida? You remember Pennsylvania? You remember Georgia? The postal votes were on number. So at the end, and one thing we should know: those who do not support Russia invasion, most of them have fled the area anyway. So people you have now are basically going. Majority will be yes. Actually, the importance of this referendum is very, very key, because at the end of the day, Russia will now stand. This is our legally recognized territory. You cross it, you have actually violated our sovereignty. We're no longer attacking you. We've retreated into our enclave. So that they can say, okay, where we are now is our enclave. We are no more aggressors. We're sitting comfortably in our homeland. You attack us or you do anything that you are now aggressor, we come after you for the full force that is it. Yes, there's still all the successes this way, but actually for me, I do not think we've seen the best from Russia. And I think they are holding back a lot of stuff. They are holding back a lot of, because my anticipation is that they know that this could turn into a deadly war that might involve even the West directly. And if that is the case,
everybody is going to be eventually destroyed
and they're not going to be on their own. But then they will not render themselves useless until that stage, because if Britain wants to attack Russia now, they will retaliate. So how are they going to respond? How are they going to basically come back at the West is something that I think that they will still have in their shelves. I wouldn't take anything that Putin is saying as a joke at all. I wouldn't. I wouldn't take it as a joke. But the other thing that we have to look at, if the West has not done what they've done by arming this thing, would the war have ended? Another person will ask. So does that mean that we should always fold our arms when an aggressor comes?
Just take over your destiny.
Again, who becomes an aggressor? At what point do we define him as an aggressor? Do we define him as someone who was acting to protect their sovereignty, knowing that the West were breaching a lot of protocols that conventionally everybody agreed that these are no-go areas, i.e. putting sophisticated weapons and making Ukraine a NATO a state? Is that what I mean? So for me, it's a very complicated issue. But the laughing stock of his African countries, especially Ghana, who are now saying that bullets in Ukraine are hitting their pocket, and shamelessly going to say that what do you call it? They will not recognize. Who cares about Ghana's recognition? What? You can't feed yourself. You are talking of recognition. Or is it because you want more wheat from Ukraine? You can't even feed yourself. Tomatoes you are importing.
Everything.
Now you can't feed water. And you are talking about recognize. Who cares about Ghana's recognition?
Wow. Well, interestingly, I mean, one thing that happened was the gesture by Russia. I mean, where we discussed about a negotiation taking place between Turkey and Saudi Arabia. Releasing of the prisoner exchange thing that took place. I mean, a day after somebody come to say, I'm going to do that, threatening, and then you see that gesture. Does it give you a bit of hope that somewhere, somehow, we can get to a place where let sleeping dogs lie, let us all just
actually,
go
we've
away?
not got the full details. I don't think Russia was going to do that if they do not get anything in return.
So yeah, there's a millionaire or something who was exchanged.
So once the exchange it, I mean, prisoner swap is something everybody does. But at the end, when you kill them, what do you benefit? And if you vow to protect your citizens, and you have an opportunity to get some of your citizens back, why not? So for me, but we give credit to Turkey and Saudi Arabia that at least we know people in Russia or who can still speak to Russia. We also understand that there's floating that there could be a peace deal that Russia is prepared to accept. But you see, Ukraine president has also come to say that these are the conditions that every inch of the land
that have been taken have to be returned to them,
including Crimea. That is not going to be possible, Archie. So we aren't going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. We have a stalemate going forward. No blood, and do not forget, each bomb that lands over there, each arm that is exported to Ukraine, is a job that is being created from the arm industry in the US, Germany, or the UK. Is the shareholders of those companies
that are making
the
money.
Bosses of those companies that are making a lot of money. So the question is was this war actually started to boost certain sections of the economy?
Look at the oil industry now.
It's collapsed because we all have to pay for the arms.
We
all have, because it's the same people. We all have to pay for the arms. That's
interesting. Olayomi Kilanko Ogabi says, good afternoon, Starr Radio UK. Frank, Archie, Olayomi and Mr. Tabiri. And it goes over and says, happy birthday to you, Bishop Adesina Deyemo. You will celebrate more in the land of the living. And let me say a big amen for that. Yes, Bishop, as I said, may God grace you with more years. All right then. We're going to be running up. Okay. I think we just have to just go on because we just have got about 20 minutes to finish the program. And we go straight to Iran. Now, interestingly, we did talk about this girl who was arrested and apparently was beaten because for her to just have a heart seizure or heart arrest and then die, the family are saying no. And now it's brought up an uproar, and virtually everywhere people who were against the revolution and everything seem to now come out, daring whatever will happen to them, and demonstrations going on there. But I know Iran, that it never sits quietly. They will unleash the full venom of their forces on these protesters. But do you think that maybe it's gotten to a point where now they have to just sit back because they are promising that, hey, we're going to see to investigate this headcraft issue?
I think, Archie, you might have all the state power, but sometimes wisdom will have to be wisdom will need to be allowed to take the first step. In my view, the system has been such that the military, the state, because of the backing they have from the rulers of the land, have actually gotten away with murder for far too long. I am happy the way the citizens have responded, and if anything at all, I think Iran will be looking over its shoulders as what happened in Egypt and what happened in Tunisia a few years ago. Yes, you might call it an Arab Spring, but it still was an uprising by the citizens. Whatever started it, for me, gets to a point where it does not necessarily matter. Yes, this girl's issue is now what is starting this. One thing we are beginning to see is that energies that normally or traditionally or over the years have been dormant, although very bitter, are now being pulled and pushed into action. And this is likely to derail whatever the state wants to do. It's going to take a lot of time to calm these angers down. Now the state has come out quickly to say they will investigate it. I think that for me is not enough. By now, investigation should have even been over for them to say, okay, A, B, C, D were directly responsible, and therefore we are dealing with them and publicly admitting that yes, just like what happened with the SARS issue. That is what we're looking over here. But you see, the unfortunate thing is Arabs are not Africans who talk, start to act, and then give up. They go all out there with the consequences. I just pray that this does not lead to destabilization of that country,
because that would be a serious thing. Because
that would be huge.
And I'm thinking that when things like that are happening, at times that you've not done diligence yourself as custodians of your country, and because of that, the citizens are rising, and then we end up quickly pointing finger that we know that our neighbors or people, our enemies, are the ones who are instigating all this. But I know for sure, just let it go for another week, and they will point fingers at the West who want the system changed there.
Actually, it's a very difficult one. I just pray for them because at the end of the day, actually, what is happening with the Middle East now? If the West especially want China, want Iran to get involved in some of these things, and probably this should lead to basically, if possible, destabilization of that. The authorities are not going to sit down, especially if you look at what happened in Hong Kong. Again, it started just as a small thing against an introduction of a bill in Parliament. We saw as we speak now, Hong Kong is not the Hong Kong that we used to know. We talk about the billionaires that used to live there. About 30% of them have fled the country. A lot of people, over 1,000 of the people, are in prison now. Would the state act this way? The state will say, okay, certain individuals have done wrong. We have announced publicly that we are investigating them. Give out the opportunity to investigate them. That will be the argument, and that's the argument they're going to be making. As to whether the protesters will accept that, it's again something that we have to, be careful. But I will be very upfront if I were the government, engaging the leadership of all the protest groups. I always believe in dialogue. What exactly are your demands? Can you come in and let's see how we can solve it together? That would be my approach.
But the easiest way could have been post-mortem. Okay, bring people from outside to come and just verify, because if somebody's been beaten, you will see the scars, you will see those things. So
in fact,
why are they not doing that?
Even the parents of the girl can even nominate a hospital, an independent hospital. I think they should be able to do that as part of a reassuring move to call the protest if they really want. If not, it's just like a fire that is starting. It will catch up with Iraq. And then
destabilizing that place would not be good at all for that enclave at all. Well, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. What's happening in your area? You want us to know? Yes, whenever we are on, you can post your comments or whatever you think about that, and I promise you something for sure that we're going to be touching on that. Now we have Putin, Berlusconi. There's an election going to be taking place in Italy. You know, I checked that the countries that have most elections: Italy, Lebanon, Israel. Oh my goodness! I mean, like, why don't we sleep?
I love them. I love them for that.
Well, so we hope we wish the Italians all the best in that election that's supposed to take place. I think it's supposed to take place.
Is Berlusconi contesting?
No, Berlusconi himself is not okay. Italy's former Vladimir. It's not. He is not. But he's made a statement. You know, ex-prime minister defends Russia war on eve of Italian election. Now he's the supporter of Berlusconi, who is supposed to be in a pole position at the moment. The 85-year-old Russian troops the Russian troops were meant to replace the government with decent people, then leave. Okay, so that's why he was saying that they were going to take over Ukraine and impose new leaders there. Now, this weekend, his party is expected to take power as part of a right-wing coalition in a general election in Italy. A narrative alleging the Ukrainian government was slaughtering Russian speakers in the east of the country was created by the media in Moscow, Mr. Berlusconi has said. Now, do you think that statement that is made, because you are seeing what European countries are going through, the pain that they are going through, is going to actually spoil the chances of his party?
No, actually, it might not. I mean, you never can tell. Whatever is going on in the UK over here, we've had an avalanche of bombardment from the media. The media has actually programmed us to think that everything in Ukraine, every bad thing in Ukraine is the fault of Russia. No one has told that. You don't hear it on national mainstream media over here that yes, I mean, genocide, what you can be considered or what you can consider genocide if it has taken place, and what the UK government would not have allowed to happen in Scotland or Wales was actually happening. That if someone even goes to Wales today and say, okay, Welsh language is banned, we only have to do it, no one will accept it. That similar thing took place in that even language and cultural assets that needs to be protected for a people. Are you getting me? No one will tell us that such things were happening in Ukraine, and no one will tell us that even the coming into office of Lezinski or whatever, it was actually it was not through a good demo, that it was protest. It was an action movement by people that chased out
the Russian
whether it's Russian or not, illegally and a democratic elected leader of that country. A coup actually took place in that country. Are you getting me? But the West kept quiet, closed its eyes as if nothing happened over there. So it should not be everybody. What someone has rightly said, if, for instance, I don't not like him, but if Donald Trump probably were in power, probably would have negotiated a way out of it. If certain leaders were in power, even Angela Merkel, if she was in power, then negotiate a different stand out of this this agreement between. Because do not forget, she was the one person who fought against the UK and the other European countries, and even Americans
admitting Ukraine into NATO.
Not even that. The gas pipeline.
The North Sea,
the pipeline. They didn't want to. UK, what do you call it? The Americans have always kicked against it. They never wanted it. Are you getting me? Merkel fought against it.
And caused that to be constructed.
And this war that is happening is it for Americans to take control of energy sources, investment potentials, and other sources in Europe. We never can tell. Archie. So Berlusconi he's an Italian. I mean, he expresses his views. Like
he was friends with, or he is friends with Putin.
Well,
very good friends. I mean, they were like Abasakom.
But he's a statement. He has supporters, and his whatever statement he made count.
Okay, listeners, it's Starr Radio UK. Let's come to the UK and let's run up the program. Paul Johnson, head of the Institute of Financial Studies, says Kwesi Kwarteng's announcement is the biggest tax-cutting event since 1972. While they may sound like positive news, Johnson offers these words of caution. In a tweet, he compares what's just been announced with the budget announced by Tory Chancellor Anthony Barber from 50 years ago. The budget is known as the worst of modern times, Johnson says. Now, we are looking at the cuts. Now, tax cuts and what is it 1p for various introductions that are coming. So virtually cutting, and that means that borrowing. You always say that they will do quantitative easing, looking at the hikes in interest rates and stuff like that. But should it work, that would be good. But if it doesn't, this is not a policy that this party, the Tories, have been tabling.
Actually, let me declare my stance. I have never been a fan of trickle-down economics. I have never supported it, and I will never support it because I've never seen it work properly the way it's supposed to work. At best, it has created class societies. That is what
widening the
gap, and the poor suffer more. They get the crumbs that are meant for the dogs, and the elites will say, yes, at least they are being fed. That is what trickle-down economics is. I've not gone through the entire budget, but a few that I've heard and glanced through, for me, it doesn't excite me that much. For instance, when you look at anyone earning about 150,000 and more today, there's less than 600,000 people in this country who are earning those monies, salaries. We are being told that today, after this budget, there are 12 to 15,000 better off. Okay? Just by the very fact that the top rate of tax
has been
has now been lowered. You know, there was a cap. That when you go past 150,000, you pay about 50p in every pound that then it came to 45p. Now it's back to 40. Which means that if you are earning 50,000, you pay the same tax rate as someone earning 300,000. That is what it means now. The only thing that they've done for the average worker is to say that, okay, the tax that we plan to lower in 2024, which is to bring the tax rate, the taxable rate from 20% to 19%, we're forwarding it, pulling it forward to 2023. And also to say that if the rise in national insurance that we introduced 2 years ago, We are not taking that off, and then we do not have to. Instead, we will not pay for the social care with borrowed money. And then you ask yourself, who pays that borrowed money? It's the same worker. On the other hand, they are taking out the rights of people at work to be able to even protest. They are taking out the rights of people, organized labor, to even be able to go on strike. It therefore means that certain freedoms that you even have access to and privileges that the law grants you to be able to seek redress, you're not going to be having them. They're bringing out a complicated method of, if government say, or union of transport for London, for instance, okay, you want 10%, we'll give you 1.5%. You need to ask every member whether they have even down 1.1%, you agree to that 1.1% or not. They will call it a democratic process, but actually we know that is not how negotiations and no way. You see, leadership is leadership, and leadership negotiates on behalf of their group. Are you getting me? Now, that right is being taken away. So the right for each of us to go and protest is. Now, there's a windfall a bit for people who might look at themselves as first-time buyers. Because we are being told now that properties between anything up to 250,000, you do not pay tax or stamp duty. It used to be 1%.
Yeah,
they've taken that off. So if you are a first-time property buyer, you are a property investor, not even a first-time buyer, and you want to invest in any property that's below the 250, you don't pay. It therefore gives room for people who are wealthy enough to buy more, to buy flats, to buy a lot of what they call it, new build properties, and then rent them out. Okay,
at high cost.
At high cost, because the interest rate has gone up. On the other hand, it therefore means that the threshold at which affordability is being calculated for a first-time buyer has gone up. Are you getting me? It means it's gone up, because if my affordability within a year or so, interest rates have gone up by 2%. It was 0.2%, 0.25% about 2 years ago. It's gone up by 2%. It's gone up.
It's now 2.25.
So what you're looking at, if the affordability rate was said that a month, probably 2 years ago, I would have been paying, let's say, 500 pounds on my mortgage. Today, I'm going to be looking at 1,003.
Yeah, and they said so virtually
so, it's going to go up. I'm going to be looking at 1,003.
Yeah.
If it is 800, I'm going to be looking at over. So basically, what I need to pay to get a mortgage on a monthly basis is going to go up. And therefore, if a bank is looking at my affordability, yes, they might have given me that I don't have to pay stamp duty, and therefore the money I put on down, I might have 20,000, 30,000, or this 10%. It's fine, but actually, the bank will look at what am I earning. How do I pay that on a monthly basis? And that's going to be the basis on which the bank. And for what we're hearing, what we heard yesterday, what we hear today, it's a zero-sum game, and even a negative sum game for a lot of people. I get me. So I mean, it's a bit of a difficult lesson. They still are pushing for growth. As you, a few growth for a few people, and then
the bankers.
I think the bankers, we are told that they spend. Yes, we know they spend, but they spend and where? Casinos. Jet
off into some other country.
Jet off into some other country. I mean, spend on holidays. Who control those holiday resorts? Who control those hotel bills that they pay? The most expensive chain restaurants that they go to? Who controls them? The luxury cars that they buy? Who controls them? Are you getting me? So you can't tell me that. Look, the only good news, there's one good news that I like though, is the fact that they're going to establish industrial zones, which is like free zones that we establish. That if you establish in those areas, there's a bit of tax, a long-term tax break for you. Those are the things that for us, we cannot be looking at. And if you're an African, you're a Ghanaian, you whatever over here, those are the opportunities we want to be looking at. Where are the industrial areas? Because they're going to use them as a growth strategy to be able to pull people out of the city. To be able to, because if a zone is coming as a growth pole area or a free zone area, you expect people to build around
those areas,
around it.
So there'll be that economy there. Will they'll pull people.
So that is what we're gonna be looking for, and I'll be interested in looking at that. Again, there's a government package that is going on. If you're a first-time buyer, you're looking at buying your house for the first time. Government has been rolling a package, and I think it will come to an end next month, where they are actually giving a bit of hand. Government loans you money to add to your deposit to buy a house. Okay, the interest rate is not something encouraging, but still better than nothing. You do not have to buy a house by next month, but you need to express interest and apply for it, so that it can be on a paper that you have applied for it.
That. And then once you have the meeting,
you can. So people listening to it can take advantage of that.
Wow, listeners, it's been quite an interesting day. I think you believe in that. Yes. If you are in the church, they would have said amen for that. But this is where we bring the program to a close this Friday, the 23rd of September. It's gone 1 o'clock. But Frank, before we go,
actually, let's have a good weekend. If you're Russian, you want to flee.
And what to avoid is always in the north. Well, Tosino, are you fleeing or are you going to be there? I don't know what Tosino is going to do, but thank you very much to each and every one of you. This Sunday, the Faith Talk will be coming your way with KB Bossman, and he will be hosting Marie Amoakwa Buedu. She's a gender and political activist, founder of GEMS Diaspora Organization, and they'll be looking at the diasporans and Ghanaian politics. GEMS Diaspora, Ghanaians in the diaspora and politics there. So make sure if you are interested in that, doesn't matter whether you come from Ghana or not, because we all live in the same geographical location. Whatever impacts you might impact me. So make a date with KB Bossman on Sunday. There will be lots of music this afternoon relating to the weekend as well. Church service on Sunday as well. So on that note, I'll say massive good afternoon and have a lovely jubbly afternoon. But let me bring you this song from the Zongo.
Archie, let me ask you a question. Why are the media so interested in stoking fire in the royal family?
Oh, leave them. I mean, I don't know. People just like I don't know.
Why are you so much interested?
Yesterday I posted not to cut you. Yesterday I sent a picture that somebody created that they had Prince William and the wife, Prince Harry and the wife. Okay, Prince William's kids, and then we have King Charles, and we have Diana, Lady Diana, and they were in a picture. When was Diana? And I said, this was stoking fire. They are really stoking fire.
Meghan Markle are impressive to Camilla's advice when she joined Royals book claim. Good afternoon.
Okay, have a lovely, jubbly afternoon. Enjoy this song from the Zungu man. He says the problem of Africa is the greed. Enjoy it. When it ends, you don't hear from us. It's with me, Archie, and Mr. Frank Davis, Mr. Olayomi here, and all the production team saying have a top of the weekend. Bye-bye for now.
The problem of Africa is the lead. Who run things, who run things, who run things. The problem of Africa is the lead. Who run things, who run things, who run things. Them all go